First of all, we need to learn where things are in InDesign. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through all the parts of the user interface and how you can customize certain things. All the Adobe Creative Cloud products are highly customizable, which can help you to make these applications set up in a way that they are aimed at specific workflows. But before we start talking about customization, let's just look at the different sections or areas of the user interface. So first of all, we have the menus on the top. In these menus, you will find all the options available, but these options can also be found in panels, which you will find here on the right side. Now, each of these panels have also their individual options from the panel menu. And the default panels that you get here can be extended by adding more panels from the window menu. You will see that in InDesign we have so many panels that they needed to be organized into groups. So for example, under type and tables, you will find additional panels. And for example, if I need the character panel, once I select it, it comes up as a floating panel, but this can easily be docked by dragging it all the way here on the right side. Now notice when I hover over the dock, I get this blue outline showing where this panel will be placed, but I can place it either here below the previous ones, or also I can create a new column in the dock. So if I drag it here, I will have another column. And with these double arrows on the top, I can also expand a column or collapse it back, and I can adjust its width as well. So I can decide to only show the icons for either of these columns, or if I need to see their names, if I prefer it that way, I can set it up easily, just like this. So don't forget, you can find all the panels in the window menu. If you ever miss something, have a look here and then you can open it up. And while we are talking about them, let me just show you how I prefer to set up my panels in InDesign. I like to have the Pages panel always open. So all I do is to simply drag this all the way to the far right edge until I get this long vertical blue line appearing there. And when I let go, that will be docked in there. So now I can decide how wide I want this to be. I can reduce it in size like that. Or if I prefer to see more of my pages, then you just simply have to right click anywhere next to the pages and then choose View Pages horizontally. So instead of vertically, if you set it to horizontally, you will see more of the pages, and depending on your screen size, you might be able to show even more of them. And in the case of this workbook, we have 46 pages. And now because I made my Pages panel big enough, I can actually see them all at once. If your screen size is smaller or the screen resolution is smaller, you can also change the size of the thumbnails. Now once again, that is right click anywhere within the Pages panel or going through the panel menu and then choosing panel options. In panel options, you will get sizes for the thumbnails, and that's again something you can set up. If I choose small or extra small, I will be able to fit more of these thumbnails on the same area. Or if I prefer to see them bigger, I can also go up to all the way to jumbo size. So let me just click OK and accept the way it is right now. And let me show you what other panels I prefer to have always handy in InDesign. So they are going to be from the window menu, and under styles, I like to have the character and paragraph styles available always. So I'm going to drop them in here. I'm also going to bring the character panel out and close it. I don't actually need that to be visible here on the right, because whenever I select text or use the type tool from the toolbar, I will get most of those options that I would get from the character panel up here in the options bar. So notice here on the page, I marked the area just under the menus, and that is what we call options bar, which will always show you the currently selected tool's features. So for the type tool, we get character and paragraph formatting options up there. But for the selection tool, we will get sizing or transformation options. And then for something like the page tool, we will get page size options. So just coming back a little bit to the panels, if you decide that you want to save the way you set up your panels, the best thing to do is to go up to the workspace switcher, which you can find up here. Once again, here I also show it. So on that drop down where by default it says Essentials, you will be able to choose New Workspace. So if I select that, I'm just going to type in MasterClass, and you can see it's going to record the panel locations and even menu customization. So let me just click OK. And now you can see we have Masterclass written up here. Now, menu customization means that you can even hide certain features from the menus. I wouldn't recommend to do that because you might forget that it's hidden, or maybe someone else is coming and they are going to look for a feature that they can't find from the menus. But if you like to try that out, you can do it through the Edit Menus option, where you will be able to find all the options and simply hide them. So if you don't want to see the file open, you can just simply hide it. And once again, all these options can be saved either here or through the workspace switcher. I'm just going to cancel out of this, and instead I show you something that I almost always customize, similarly to panels, and they are the shortcuts. Now, keyboard shortcuts can save you a lot of time, and it's worth learning the default shortcuts, but you can also customize them. So if I go to the edit menu and I choose keyboard shortcuts, one of the first things that I would normally change in Adobe products is the undo redo option. So if I go to the product area edit menu, within that I will just have to scroll down until I find redo and undo. So there's undo, I select that, and notice that I have two shortcuts here. So we have Command Z and F1 or function 1. Command Z or Control Z is the default shortcut for undo, but F1 is my custom keyboard shortcut. And the cool thing about InDesign is that it can actually have multiple shortcuts for the same features. So if I press Command Z by accident, so if, let's say I forget that I have another shortcut for it, it will still work, but it will also work with my customized version. And I would be able to keep adding new shortcuts, so you can have multiple shortcuts for the same feature. Now that might sound a little bit of an overkill, but believe me, this is a brilliant feature. And I use F1 for undo and F2 for redo. So let me just show that as well to you. Now you can see that Command Z might be easy, but Command Shift Z for redoing is not a really convenient shortcut because it's 3 keys you have to hold down instead of simply pressing F2. And there's a couple of other shortcuts as well that I will recommend as we go along. And as I explain features, you will see me showing you custom shortcuts. But now you know exactly where to set them up. So let me just get out of this menu and show you where you can find the preferences. So if you are a Mac user, you will find these under the InDesign CC menu. So there's preferences. If you are a PC user, you will find this under the edit menu all the way at the bottom. But for both versions, the shortcut is Command K or Control K to get to the general preferences. And then once you are in there, you will get a list of all the categories where you can make changes to the preferences. And one of the things I wanted to show you is that under interface, you actually can change the color theme of InDesign. And let me show you how it used to look like in previous versions. So this is how it was. And you probably find this a little bit too bright, especially switching from the dark interface. And there is a reason why the default option is the medium dark, because it is just easier on the eye. Plus, normally because we work in print with white background, the paper color, the darker background just isolates better the work area or the document window that we have in the middle from the actual interface. If you want, you can even go darker, so you can choose the completely dark interface, which might be a little bit too dark, but I actually quite like it. For now, I'm just going to stick to the default color setting. And while we are here in the interface settings, I would like to also show you another very useful option called live screen drawing. I like to set this to immediate, although the default option is delayed. If you set it to immediate, a lot of things that you do in InDesign will be automatically changed while you are changing them, instead of you have to wait for an update to be visible. The only disadvantage of setting this to immediate is that your computer might struggle sometimes to give you a live feedback of the changes that you are doing. So try it out. If it slows down your machine too much, then maybe set it back to delayed. But this is something I like to change already in the beginning, even before I do anything. And of course, InDesign is going to remember your settings. If you want to make sure that a setting within the preferences is going to be consistent throughout all your documents, the best thing to do is to close every document, so have nothing open, and then go into preferences and make a change. Because if you don't have anything open, then it will definitely 100% becomes a default setting. Otherwise, some features might only change for the currently selected document. That's also an important thing to remember about InDesign. I'm just going to click OK, and I'm going to use my Pages panel to switch to page number 5, where I actually show you exactly where you can find this live screen drawing option. Plus, I also mention that under Units and Increments in Preferences, you can change what your default measurement should be. So if you prefer to change that, again, remember you can go through the preferences, and then from that section, you can make a change. I will come back to talk more about measurements later on, once we start creating things, but I thought I'd point out a few useful options from the dozens or maybe hundreds of options that you can customize through the preferences. So once again, let me just switch back quickly to page number 3, double clicking on the thumbnail. I can get back to that page, and notice that I mentioned here a shortcut. Pressing W can switch between two different views, normal view, which we are in now, and preview mode. So when you're in preview mode, you will only see things that will actually be printed, while in normal view, you can see all the bounding boxes around your text frames and images. This can help you to identify certain aspects, like something being logged will have a little padlock on it. And you can even unlock them easily, but only if you are working in normal mode. So preview mode will have its limitations, but it's great for reviewing and checking how your page layout is going to look in print. So remember W, definitely a useful shortcut. And in the next video, I'm going to show you a couple of additional features that we use to be able to navigate within our documents in InDesign.